All right, so in one of the recent videos that I uploaded on how I pretty much automated my Etsy dropshipping print-on-demand business with a number of different softwares and AI tools, got a lot of traction, okay? And in that specific video, I'll drop it at the end of the description if you do want to check it out after this video. But essentially what I did is I showed you all the AI tools and all the softwares that I use to automate it from start to like finding the actual product, designing the product, uploading it into a software that's going to do all the shipping, all the logistics, all the printing of the actual product, all of that stuff for me. So it's pretty much hands off. All I really need to worry about is finding hot selling designs and then using a software to design them for me and then uploading them into another software that's going to, again, do everything for me, right? And that obviously works very, very well. But that's not the only way that I'm actually creating these designs that are selling really well. And I'm gonna show you another software in this tutorial that's really helping me design really cool designs that start flying off the shelves in a number of different ways. So we're gonna go through that here in a second. But the first software that you're actually gonna need is a print-on-demand company software that's going to allow you to make the designs and then input them on whatever you want. So we're talking t-shirts, mugs, backpacks, hats have been really good for me lately, baby onesies, aprons, like you name it, you can print it on there. And I use Gelato. It's phenomenal. It literally takes all of that off your plate so that all you need to do is focus on creating good designs and then creating more good designs and more good designs, right? You're able to focus your effort and your time on what actually matters and what actually moves your business forward and gets you more sales rather than getting tied down and bogged down in the nitty-gritty of the everyday of processing orders, going through and printing the actual shirts, shipping them out, dealing with all the tracking numbers and inputting that. Like, you don't want to do that. You're never going to be able to scale your business if you're handling all those individual tasks every single day. You want to be focused on the most important thing that's driving the boat forward, and that is obviously making the cool designs. So Gelato is a no-brainer. It doesn't cost you any money, right? It's not like I have some crazy pitch here like, oh, Gelato, like it's completely free to use. The only way that they charge you is when you actually get a sale. They take a small portion of that sale as their profit and their cut for actually putting the actual print onto whatever you tell them to and then shipping it out on your behalf, right? It doesn't cost you anything. They only charge you a small fee once you actually get the sale and then they ship it out for you, okay? So if you'd like to try Gelato like I do, it's that first link in the description. Now, the second tool that we're going to use here is Photor, okay? Photor is a really cool tool. It started as kind of like a graphic design tool where you could cartoonize different actual pictures. And that was something that I used a year ago, 2 years ago, very successfully. But since then, it's really morphed into something that has a ton of features, especially with these AI design tools now. This has a ton of them, a ton of templates where you can pretty much drop any image in there and it will make it whatever you want. So I'm going to run you through Photor here in a second. But the whole premise of this is we're going to use popular people and popular slogans in popular movies, popular TV shows, popular, music, whatever. And we're going to take their face and alter their face so it's very similar and recognizable, but different enough that obviously it's not their face specifically, so we can use it, okay? And on top of that, we're also going to take a popular slogan or a popular saying or a popular, lyric in a song. All of these work. I've done all of them. And then we're going to put that on a mug, on a t-shirt, on a sweatshirt, on a hat. And then it's something obviously that people are going to want because it's recognizable. There's going to be high searchability on Etsy for that. Nobody else is really able to replicate this because they're not able to use something like Photor, or they haven't thought to use something like Photor to alter these images and these slogans and come up with something unique like that. And as you know, you can't just take somebody's image like Michael Scott as an example here and then put it on a t-shirt. You're going to get an IP claim on that. So if we alter it so that it's, AI based and something completely different using Photor, like I said, we can put that on something and not worry about it, obviously, when we pair that with like a slogan or a lyric or something if it's a popular musician, okay? So as always, this is the example that I use, Michael Scott in The Office. I do not use Michael Scott anymore, but I sold a ton of mugs with his face on it, obviously cartoonized in the past, probably I don't know, 100 or 200 of them. So this does work. I know that it does, but you don't just have to stop there. You can use Schitt's Creek. Like I used Roland from Schitt's Creek. I used a number of different people. I've used popular musicians and then popular lyrics and done the same exact thing, okay? So this works. I know it does. I still do it to this day. I just don't use Michael Scott. We're going to use him in this example right here, all right? So Michael Scott, you would grab any picture. It doesn't matter if it's a transparent PNG or anything like that because we can take it into Photor, make it transparent, and alter it however we would like, all right? So we could take this one right here. We could take this one. This one's pretty funny. We could take this one right here. And let's take this one. That's a little basic. So let's take this one actually where he kind of looks like he's standing like James Bond. And then we would try to save this image, although that's not. There we go. Save the image. Still a web file, so let's take a snippet of it instead. There we go. And now we can upload that into Photor, as you can see here. So we'll go back to the main page, just upload an image here with the AI photo editor. As you can see, like we're not going to get into any of the specific other features here, but there's a ton. You have a collage maker, an AI image generator, just like it was like DALL-E or something like that. I've used this to create really cool designs as well. Just like in the last tutorial, I showed you how I was able to do that with DALL-E and ChatGPT. The AI image generator in here works very well as well. You have the graphic designer, so if you click into this, it's literally like Canva in a lot of ways with a lot more features. Very cool stuff. And there's a ton of other things. If you just play around with it, you can see. But we're going to use the AI photo editor here. So if we just click into that, now we can upload an image. And we're going to take that Michael Scott one. There he goes. And as you can see here, you can do a number of things, right? So instantly we could just remove the background to make him transparent, which is a game changer, obviously, for any picture, like not just this, because then we can put that on a mug, on a t-shirt, on a hat, whatever, because when you're using something like Gelato, as you'll see when I take you through like the actual uploading of the product or uploading of the design on the product here, you need it to be transparent, right? If you upload an image with a background, it's going to look bad. You can still do it. It's just not going to look great because you're going to see that background. You want it to be transparent, whether it's words, whether it's an image, and that's what's really going to look the best when you're printing it onto these products, right? So we can remove the background and then apply it. And now we can add any of these other things, right? So we can add an AI image behind him. We could expand him a little bit, like if we wanted to make the background a little bit different. We could put something that he's holding or put shades on him if we wanted to put, like tell AI to do that. But one of my favorite features of this that is the simplest thing to do is just go to the AI filters here. And as you can see, we can turn him into claymation. We can turn him into stained glass. We can turn him into like anime or a cartoon. We can make him underwater themed. We can make him GTA, which is the image that you saw originally that I was playing around with right before I actually started recording. So if we just click GTA, we can go obviously Fallout, PS2 style. There's a number of other things. One of the coolest designs, not specifically with Michael Scott, as you see this is loading and applying that AI filter to him. One of the coolest things that I did recently is I did a lot of my most popular designs, but I zombified them for Halloween with a funny Halloween slogan. Those have really been flying off the shelves recently, although it's the 29th when I'm recording this. By the time this gets edited and goes live, it's going to be well into November, I would assume. So Halloween is already passed by the time you're watching this. You can't really get away with doing that anyway, but it did work for the month of October and a little bit in September. So there's a number of different functionality and use cases for this. You just have to kind of get creative, okay? So that's GTA. Obviously doesn't look like Michael Scott anymore. We could zombify him if you want to apply that filter. We could babyface him. But one of the coolest things, we just upload a different one to show you here, is just cartoonize him, right? That is going to make him recognizable, so people still can recognize that it's Michael Scott. And then on top of that, we can put a famous Michael Scott saying, whatever it is, right? We can just Google famous Michael Scott quotes and put that on a mug or a t-shirt. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not repeating that because I'm saying, like, you could. I have literally done that in the past and made a ton of sales. So we would say famous Michael Scott quotes or famous Michael Scott sayings or whatever, and just start looking down them. It doesn't have to be the first link. You could just check a bunch of them. Obviously, it helps if you're a fan of the show or you're a fan of the movie or you're a fan of the actual artist that you're using, if it's a musician or whatever. That way, you're going to be able to better pick the best ones. You're going to think it's funny, too. You're going to be better at designing products for that person and for the target audience and target buyer that you're trying to approach, especially when you're starting to create the listing as well, because you are that target buyer if you're a fan of that, right? I've watched The Office. I love this stuff. So it's very easy for me to pick one out and make a good one, okay? But this is just one example. So let's find a good one here that has sort of an oaky afterbirth. I learned a while back that if I don't... So we want something short that we can put it on, just like a small sentence or a few words. I'm an early bird. That's not going to work. I declare bankruptcy. That's a funny one. So I put that on a mug previously. This one's a little bit long. It's Brittany. We're the turtles. You don't know me. The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. I put that on the shirt too before. And I believe I sold a few of them. Not as much as some of the other ones, but this one's funny as well. And again, if you're not a fan of The Office, you've never seen it, you're not going to know these quotes, and that's fine. But pick something that you do know and are a fan on, so obviously that's something that you can create a little bit better. So I love inside jokes. I hope to be part of one someday. It's a little bit long, but you could put this on a mug very easily. So let's try to pick one different one that's a little shorter. You cheated on me when I specifically asked. I put this one on and sold a bunch of this one as well. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So we'll use this one. It's a little shorter. And let's see so it cartoonized them again. Not super recognizable here, but if you cartoonized them 3D, we could just cartoonize them without 3D. So if we just cartoon to him. And so that would be an example of what it looks like with claymation. And then you could take him into the adjust and then remove the background so it's transparent. Just let it auto do it. Should take it right out. There you go. And that kind of looks like Michael Scott, just claymated. So for the sake of saving your time and not playing around with it and finding a good variation of the cartoon, we're just going to go with the claymation there. And then we're going to download it. Now that we actually have the image and we have the text, we need to actually apply the text to the image here, okay? So you can use any one of these preset texts, which are great because now you don't need to actually find a cool looking text font, which was a nightmare as well when I used to try to design things in Canva or Photoshop. I used to have to pick out the right text, and for whatever reason, I couldn't find a text that looked like other people's designs, right? It just kind of, to me, maybe it's just my perception, it didn't look as good. But you don't need to do that, obviously, because they have a ton of cool designs in here. They change, and you can kind of look through them all, and then you could just utilize theirs, and it looks great, right? So I would say, for the other quote, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So you might say right here, I'm not superstitious. Right there. And keep in mind as well, this is going to be transparent. So we probably want to make this black so it's readable. Delete this. And you'd say, paste the other part in there. Where is it? There it goes. But I am a little stitious. There we go. And so clearly, anybody that is going to look at this right here is going to know that that's from The Office, right? It looks like Michael Scott, even though it's not Michael Scott, so we can still use it. And then he's got a famous Michael Scott quote. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, right? And so you could put this on a mug and kind of wrap it around, which would be really cool. You could put this on a t-shirt, on a hoodie. You could put it on the front of a hat. You could put it on a backpack. You could put it on whatever you wanted, on an apron. I used to sell a lot of aprons, kind of moved away from it, but they do work as well. And again, if you wanted to download this, you could just download it again. And now you could take it into Gelato and we could put it on whatever we want. So we could put it on a t-shirt. We could put it on a sweatshirt. We could put it on a mug. Let's try to put it on a mug since the last example was a t-shirt that I used in the last tutorial. Again, that's at the end of the description if you do want to check it out. So there's a bunch of different mugs. You could just do the 11-ounce ceramic mug right here and then start designing it. It's going to tell you the price of it. Drop your design in. Pretty self-explanatory. Here's what it looks like with the words. Boom. And so one thing I will say is don't just leave it in the middle. You would think when you start designing stuff like this, oh, you want it centered, right? And you do with t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats and stuff like that. But with mugs, you need to notice that it's going to be in the middle of the mug. So you're going to be holding it and then it's going to be in the middle. It's not going to look right, right? So this is obviously not a mug, but I'm holding it. If this was where I was holding the actual thing from the side, typically mug designs are on the sides of the mug, right? But if you leave it in the middle, it's going to be the middle and it's not going to look right. So nobody's going to be able to see it when they're drinking it. It's not going to be right. So you need to drag it to one of the sides like this, right? Drag it to one of the sides. Now this is a little bit of a bigger design. So what I would do is I would kind of go like that, something like that. And then we'll see what that looks like by clicking off of it and going preview. The benefit of Gelato as well is you can preview it. So that does look pretty cool now, right? So like that's what the design would look like. Obviously, it's still wrapping around. You can't see the other edge of it, but it is still wrapping around. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious, right? And then clearly nothing about this on this mug says that this is from The Office. So we can do this, okay? And then in your listing, you would obviously use those keywords. You would tell, ChatGPT or Copilot or whoever's creating your listing. Again, I cover all that in the other tutorial to put that in there, right? This is a mug that designs for Michael Scott from The Office with the famous quote of "I'm not." You tell it all that information, and then it would generate you the listing title, the listing description, the tags, all with those keywords. So anybody searching for that would obviously find this mug and then be able to see it. And we're able to do this because that's clearly not Michael Scott's picture. It's a variation of it that looks very similar, and we're using a popular quote from the actual show, okay? So this is a game changer. This is a little workaround so you can sell popular stuff very easily. But again, you have to alter it. I use Photor. It's a great tool. Again, linked in the description. Once you obviously make the designs, then you need to use Gelato so that they can put this on whatever. You could also put this very easily, just to take it back and show you one more example, you could put this on a t-shirt as well, right? So let's go to product catalog again. We'll go to the t-shirts, or you could put it on a sweatshirt. It does not matter. Put it on anything. We'll use the Gildan 5000, the classic one, and then we'd start designing. Pick obviously your sizes and your color variations, then drop the design in there. It's already in there. And then boom, let's kind of go out a little bit. And we'd make sure that this is as big as possible within the design area. And I think it definitely goes better on a mug, in my opinion, but you could put this on whatever you wanted to, obviously. So we preview it. And there you go, right? And then Gelato would print this on whatever you wanted, not just t-shirts or mugs, literally anything. They have tons of different things that you can print it. You just go down their product catalog and see all the different options that you can put your prints on. It's not just these two. And then, of course, they would print it as soon as you get the order automatically because you've already connected your Etsy and your Gelato accounts. It's super easy. Right in Etsy, you just connect Gelato, sign in, and they automatically sync so that when you do get an order for this on Etsy, after you're done publishing it on Gelato, it automatically goes to Etsy. You just have to publish it on Etsy. And then on Etsy, when you do get an order, Gelato will automatically print that specific product on whatever you told them to for that order and then ship it out automatically to that customer's address, and then also automatically input the tracking number into your Etsy order again, so you don't have to do anything, okay? It is hands off once you design it and put it on the actual product. Game changer, all right? So Gelato, Photor, both linked in the description. As always, though, this is what just works for me, so I really hope it helps, guys.